The World Health Organization are in trouble, the European Union failed to agree to a budget again, and the left go after Priti Patel. Right, so this global health crisis is still ongoing, and there's a number of international bodies that are being attacked. One of them is the European Union, and the other one is the World Health Organization. So the WHO have been completely incompetent and complacent, but they're also quite corrupt and dodgy. So there's now a lot of calls to dismantle and abolish the whole organization. There's an article in the Telegraph by Christopher Snowdon saying Trump is right. The rotten World Health Organization should be reformed or abolished. I mean, we all remember when the WHO made Robert Mugabe its goodwill ambassador, and also generally speaking, they've been criticized for mishandling the health crises in the past, not just when it comes to the current one. And even back in January, kind of 6 weeks after the virus basically was discovered in China, the WHO basically just said that, well, the Chinese government said that there's no evidence of human-to-human transmission, so we're just going to believe China. That's why I call the World Health Organization the Chinese Health Organization. And even in the past, they made so many errors and mistakes. Let's just say, it's unintentional, but it's happened. Even as late as 27th of February this year, the WHO said that they're still claiming that there does not appear to be a widespread community transmission. And it was not until the 11th of March that they officially declared a pandemic. Really? Are you kidding me? Now, this is why Snowden says that Britain should follow America's lead. We, as the UK, give the WHO over $200 million in 2018, making us its second biggest contributor. So we are giving all this money to an organization that we're not actually getting anything back. I really want to know what this money is being spent on. Apart from the scientific research that they do, it's something that, again, each country in the world could do on their own, because scientists belong to a nation, generally speaking. And why are we doing this? The bureaucracy of the funding of WHO, and also the incompetence of the whole organization, and how they've been dodgy before with Mugabe, now with China. Why are we trusting these guys? There are other articles talking about how the WHO should now be disbanded. These reports are littered with errors and inconsistencies. Take the briefing for the 16th of March. It claims that the Philippines had recorded no new cases, but its tally jumped to 140 from 111 in the report for 15th of March. Meanwhile, all the numbers that they've been giving out have been completely wrong. And, even from China, the current numbers of new cases that's coming out, nothing's apparently happening in China. WHO are just agreeing with China again. The WHO's monopoly on the authority of international public health has cost the world dearly. And it's not just this time, it's happened before with other health emergencies. When this whole thing is defeated, it should be disbanded and replaced. There's a lot of debates that should be happening, a lot of discussions that need to be taking place around the world when it comes to international bodies. And as Hayek told us, competition is a force for good. The monopoly that on public health, international public health, that WHO have, is a big problem. But they're not the only international body that causing chaos for themselves. The European Union have been trying to come up with a budget for a long time now. We had it a few weeks ago when they said, in terms of the spending, especially on the health crisis, let's delay for another 2 weeks so we could come up with something. Even though they had hours on a video conference call with all the nation states, nothing happened. It's happened again. Yeah, the EU stalemate after 16-hour meeting on economic aid failed again. The EU finance ministers have failed so far to agree on a package to mitigate the economic fallout. And so they had a 16-hour long video conference from Tuesday to Wednesday. This week. And but they couldn't. They have a lot of divisions. Again, when you have 27 countries trying to decide something, it's not easy. And now they're facing a deep recession. And ministers, they hope that they could agree to a 500 billion euro program, but so far it's not happening. And Italy, Spain, Portugal are being abandoned, and no one actually cares. But it all goes back to what we said: when you have a monopoly as an international body, it doesn't really help. So whether it's the European Union or, again, WHO, and they have to either reform themselves, and I don't believe they can be reformed, just like the EU, so they need to go. Yeah, so WHO faces an existential question: reform or wither away. But we'll have to wait and see whether we are going to be having an international investigation into this whole thing afterwards or not. Is there going to be an appetite? Because there should be from a number of countries. Italy have already signaled that we need to look into what exactly happened and who to be blaming, in generally speaking. And but depending on how the United Nations react to it, we'll have to wait and see. But on a happier note, the fake news Channel 4, after years of spreading fake news, they are now losing money. So they have to be forced. They were forced to make some budget cuts. Yeah, so Channel 4 imposes severe cuts to ensure survival. Income from TV ads has already halved. Cuts £150 million from content spend. This is around a quarter of total. Devastating for the TV production companies. And there are a lot of shows that are being cancelled. Also, £95 million of cost cuts, 10% staff on furlough, and risk of job losses. I mean, nobody likes job losses in general, but when it comes to organisations like Channel 4, and considering it's still technically a public body, it's nationalised, and they have their own revenue through ads and everything else. It's ridiculous. So, it's called free market. If you don't do well, you go down. Now, in other happy news, Boris Johnson has been taken out of the ICU, and he's still in the hospital, where he's recovering. And to be fair, things are going quite well in terms of the recovery, but also the reaction that we've seen from the public. Generally speaking, the majority of the public out there are behind Boris Johnson. Even the Metro did their front page saying, "We are with you, Boris," which is really good. When you have like a newspaper that I don't really count Metro as a newspaper, but let's just say it is. Even they are behind our Prime Minister. That's pretty good. But speaking of politics, there's some stuff going around in Parliament these days when it comes to the expenses that's affecting the ex-MPs, former MPs, which is kind of ridiculous. Yeah, Parliament. So ex-MPs can now keep expensive expenses tech. An email sent to former members of Parliament from the Parliament's Digital Service Customer Relations team that informed the former MPs that the equipment purchased through IPSA expenses is not retrieved by the Parliamentary IT, which only retrieves as equipment it issued itself. That means that all the MPs that bought all these computers and everything, they can actually keep it. Now, equipment purchased personally or with an IPSA issued credit card is yours to keep. All purchase equipment can be identified by a yellow label starting with CMP. However, the original software on any purchased computers is owned by Parliament and will no longer be licensed once your account is deleted. Now that's my biggest issue. So the actual hardware, which is actually even more expensive, they're fine with it. All the former MPs can still keep it. But the biggest problem is the software. Yeah, sure. I mean, we have like an example. Tom Watson, a former MP, bought a computer for £2,000 on taxpayers' money, and that's it. Parliament are not going to take it back. This is when we talk about the swamp and the establishment wasting money. This is exactly what I'm talking about. But where's the progressive left that are very concerned about this sort of things? They're not. What they're doing is they're going after Priti Patel. So they started this movement on a hashtag on Twitter to attack the Home Secretary because she hasn't had enough on her plate to deal with. So even people like Piers Morgan are saying, "Where is the Home Secretary?" Oh God. And on Twitter itself, there's a hashtag, "Where is Priti Patel?" And there's a number of people who say, of course, Priti Patel is hiding. As soon as she shows her face, the first question that should be asked is her definition of low-skilled workers. And other tweets say, Priti Patel was quick to label NHS workers as low-skilled, but everyone's now concerned about where she is. Well, I can tell you where she is. She's at work. She's in the Home Office at her desk doing her job, and it's not required. The reason that people are kicking off on the left is because they don't see her at the press conferences. So, really, when you have the press conferences, are usually either run by the Prime Minister or someone who's replaced him, Dominic Raab or Michael Gove. And if it's about money, then obviously Rishi Sunak as Chancellor speaks. And whether it's about housing, other ministers, generally speaking, she's not actually required to be at the press conference. She's still doing her work, and she actually was on talk radio yesterday doing an interview. stop, just leave her alone. Let her do her job. It's interesting how they're not going after other ministers. There are also other ministers who are hiding. Why Priti? But this is what we had to deal with. And but going back to what we talked about, the WHO, there's going to be a lot of questions. And on this channel, we are going to be focusing and scrutinizing all these international bodies, especially the weird relationships with China. So obviously, if you enjoy the content, if you want to find out more in the future from this channel, then make sure you subscribe to the channel and click on that bell next to it so you get notified. We have a daily show at 5:45 p.m. And I want to say a massive thank you to the members of our channel, the true supporters who are helping us survive during these dark days and carry on with the work that we do. We are going to do more exclusive content for the members as well, live Q&As and kind of access to me in general. If you want to join as a member and support us, then feel free to check out the link in the description or find the join button next to subscribe, or just go on your browser and type in youtube.com/myitc/join, and I'll see you guys tomorrow with a video.